Hello, it's Tamara Hunter, and today is day number 279 of 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service, and I was just rocking out a moment ago with today's service hero, Kevin Beverly. Let me tell you about Kevin, and that he also goes by Kev Bev. So Kev Bev is someone I met a little while ago. He is a photographer, videographer, primarily a videographer, and we're going to talk about that. That has a heart. That's a good guy. He's serving others, and I've seen it. And it's funny. We seem to be running in some of the same circles or at some of the same events recently. And he is sometimes on the road as much as I am, and he's doing it serving others. And so you truly are a service hero, and you deserve to be, and you deserve to be one for a while. So I'm glad that I'm finally honoring you, Kevin. Thank you for being here.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much, Tamara, for having me on. I appreciate it. It's always a journey. You never know where it's going to take you. So.
Isn't that the truth? I love that. Thank you for starting it right away. Now let's talk about you, because you know, okay, you have a baby face. Let's just be honest. You have a baby face. So what are you, 12 going on 14 or?
Sure, definitely. Okay. No, it just comes down to I think being happy and just focusing on what you really want in life really makes a difference. So at the same time, taking care of your health and well-being is the number one thing. So this is perfect because I see being in the world of cancer and creating cancer buddies, definitely health is number one focus. So, yep. But yeah, I am a 32-year-old young man. So, but yeah.
Well, a 32-year-old talented young man that's out there telling stories and helping others to get their message out. Let's talk about your journey to today, because you have a bit of one. You have been an entrepreneur. You went one direction, and then you took another direction by way of also getting involved in a program that helps you to become a better you. Am I right?
Correct. So being that Tamara opened the door, let me step into that.
Okay, awesome. Let's do that.
No, so I've had a few challenges in my world. I think there was a period of time where I was a 23-year-old. I owned a house. I had everything set, ready to go. And it's really due to just really acknowledging my parents and positioning me in a way that for me to be successful. Right, but there always seemed to be something missing. Like at the time, I had a really great, job at the time. It was paying my bills. It was just an ordinary life. There wasn't anything special about it. I always had this draw. Something was missing. So I had an opportunity to expand a business in Santa Barbara, California. This is where it comes down to planning. Things just didn't plan out the way I wanted to when I moved and gave up basically everything to build a business out of the back of my car. I was literally homeless and lived out of my car for about 9 months. I learned a lot. I had probably 10, 20 books in my passenger seat, all around creating wealth and abundance and, being successful. It was probably one of the most greatest times for me. The one thing is when you just jump, you don't know what it's going to look like, and you just go for it. The results, regardless of if it's money and that stuff, it's great. But the person you get to step into is pretty much that's part of our evolving as people. So, I went back to spend time with my family for a period of time, and then I was driving for a Lyft. I was doing what I had to do to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. A mentor of mine had, he had shared with me a few things, and one thing that stuck out to me was this program called Landmark Worldwide. It's a professional and personal growth and development program where you're able to kind of break free and see what's holding you back, what's stopping you. At the same time, if you can actually see something, then you can actually move it, right? Right. So I really got to see how not being vulnerable with people was one of my areas that I did not want to embrace. So, and at the same time, being radically honest with myself. Where is it that I want to go? Who is it I want to become? Where do I want to focus and create things for others? but obviously you can't help anyone else unless you start with yourself. So, let me see what else. There came a point where I was given the opportunity to go to an event. Now, there's something about live events. You don't know who you're going to meet, what's going to happen, what opportunities will present themselves. I was actually presented the opportunity to join a digital marketing mastermind. This mastermind cost was about $9K. I did not have the money whatsoever, but there was just something in me that said, if you continue on the path that you're going right now, you will continually get the same result. So to be radically honest, is I asked myself, do I really want to be in this mastermind? And without a second's hesitation in my mind of yes. So now I get to know and get to see what are the actions, what can I create here, and basically just created money out of thin air. I created solutions and joined the mastermind, which was a year-long mastermind. Required tons of traveling, tons of personal growth and development. I got to discover how I could empower men around how they could fashionably dress themselves to attract the type of person they wanted, whether that's their girlfriend, their business partner, the type of person they want to become, right? Just there's something about fashion, especially for guys, is it's all about being confident and self-expressive, regardless of what people think of you. And it creates opportunities. So if you want to network or something, you're just walking out through your normal day. Say a woman would come over, I love your shoes. My boyfriend should wear those shoes. Where did you get them? Right. So it creates a conversation starter. There's just a lot of opportunities within the world of fashion. But one of the things that I was focused on was I needed to create a digital product, being in a digital mastermind. So one of those was being able to utilize video to do so. I went to college for photography. I absolutely hated videography for whatever reason. Right?
That is hilarious. Okay, you actually went to school for photography, still photography, and the idea of videography or moving film, moving pictures, and all of that. It wasn't not okay. I take it or leave it. It was an actual hate.
Yeah. I really disliked video. I don't know why. I enjoyed movies here and there, but to actually create something from my own perspective was really weird, and I did not like it. Right. So this is the thing that I've learned from a mentor of mine is some of the beliefs that you carry with you will reach a point where they no longer serve you. Right. So this is the part about.
That's good. That's good. Yes, that's very good. Let's say that one more time, because you said that kind of and I want people to sink in, because that's very important. Go ahead. One more time.
So as you grow, as you develop, some of the beliefs that you carry with you as you grow and develop, they will no longer serve you, right? You will break into a new belief system, right? This is why mentors and coaches are so important, right? That's why, joining for me a digital marketing mastermind made such a difference, because it forced me to really step into something I've never done before. So, right. And giving up, a lot of people tend to want to control the outcome, right? And sometimes there's an idea that they want to go with, but to actually just give up the overall outcome and just focus on the one thing that's in front of you really does make a difference. So from there, while I was at another event with the same mentor, I was walking around doing my little video thing because one of my friends, when we were at this event, we were staying in the same hotel room. It was 2 a.m. and he was almost annoyed. He's like, it's 2 a.m. and you're working on editing videos. You need to figure this out. So the following day, there was a gentleman there that was also part of the same business for my mentor. And he basically mentions honestly, Kev, why don't you just do video? I see you. You're the only one walking around with a camera trying to figure out how to create a video. Why don't you just create videos for people? And from there, it was the clouds parted. The seas were so pristine and clear. I was like, oh my gosh, it was the greatest epiphany. Literally someone bonked me on my head saying, this is what you're going to do.
Oh, wow. Okay, I want to recognize someone that's here right now, because she's one of our chemo buddies for life. That's Helene. Helene, thank you for joining us. And she said hello to both of us. And and it's I'm really glad she's here, because that one of the things you said, I thought really is helpful, because sometimes many of our buddies are at different places in their journey of getting back to being, well and the best that they can be, and our old beliefs, many ways, and it can be in a work situation, it can be in a personal situation, it can be in a health situation, that our belief systems and our old beliefs, they don't always serve us today like they did before. And that really touched home, and I wanted it to be really, really listened to and felt, because some of our buddies are in a place where that is like, whoa, that's a nugget right there. That is a treasure. Because many times we think that if we hear certain things in regards to our health, that challenge, that we already have a preconceived notion of what that may look like. However, that's a preconceived notion. It doesn't have to be the truth. It doesn't have to be what is going to be our reality. And you are living that, because you actually it didn't serve you. You kind of even hated there for a while the idea of video. And now you are working in video. That is amazing. So you went to this mastermind, you decided to go ahead and join it. It was grueling. It was a year, and you were doing it because, and I have to say, you do dress quite dapper Dan, kind of really nice. And when you're at an event, I'm like, man, this is a professional man. This is a man that knows what he's doing. Your gear is spectacular. You respect it completely. You take care of it. You come representing yourself very well. And when oftentimes you're working with one of your clients at an event, and I have to say, I'm just so impressed in how you do it. You follow them around, but you're not being invasive, which sometimes we know some that can be. You're not. You capture the moments, and yet you're not necessarily creating the moments for them. You're capturing the moments. That's different, isn't it? Because I've noticed that in the way that your style is.
For me, it's more of laid back but intentional. It's allowing the moments to take place, and I'm just there at the right time. It's the right place and the right time, right? And it's not like the other part is, being that I've been really focused on weddings, is when you're working with brides, there's different types of brides. There's ones that are like, yeah, go ahead, knock yourself out, do whatever you want to do. Then there's brides that are like, we just want you to hang out on the sides. We don't really want you so much in our faces with the camera. So that's kind of the moments that you kind of position yourself in a way where it's not extremely intrusive. So it just really depends. But yeah.
And let's talk about that too, because and then we're going to come in back to something. But you are really focusing a lot on telling the story of bridal videos, right? Wedding videos. And you just recently went on one that sounded like it was pretty exciting. The what you got to film. Not quite. It was like a destination kind of a situation, wasn't it? In a very smaller way. I mean, what did you tell about? Because it's fascinating to me what you got to do.
Yeah, so in filming weddings, you just never know what you're going to walk into. You have the idea, and obviously this is a part of having powerful conversations with people. But basically, the setup of the wedding was that I showed up at a campground in Northern California, where the bride and groom's family previous day were literally taking soap and water and a brush and like literally cleaning off a boulder in the middle of a lake. That is literally the ceremony. That's where the ceremony was going to take place. So the bride came out of a camper, an RV. We all got on several boats, and we boated over to this little nicely pristine, cleaned off boulder. But minus the fact that the preacher or the minister didn't show up. So they literally had to go down to the Forest Ranger Service and ask if there was an ordained minister that could marry the couple. This is an insight into what weddings are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so there's a limited amount of space on this rock in the middle of a lake. So you got to make do with what you have. But yeah, it was really interesting. But the other part is it's the moments that you get to see, especially for me and for those that are in relationships, it's the moments you get to see of pure love, pure joy and excitement. That is really what life is about. It's not about the money. It's not about the possessions. Yeah, it helps in one way, shape, or form. But it's really about the moments that you cherish with those that you truly love and care about that does make a difference. So, and I get to be the one to create opportunities for them to walk into. So the ending part of that video that I got to create was the backdrop of an amazing waterfall. And the actual couple was kissing and really close to each other, whispering sweet somethings into each other's ears. It was a really beautiful scene. It's really something to be captured, to drink in, because everybody has a certain way of showing their own emotion. And this is the part of me being able to be vulnerable with people, is just to live in someone else's vulnerability at the same time. It's teaching me what it actually looks like to share myself completely with someone that I truly do care about. So.
You have such a good heart. That's one of the other things that I notice about you, and why I appreciate you so very much as a service hero and as an individual, because it really does show through when you're with others. You just have a genuine nature to you. And is that something that was learned, or is that natural, do you believe?
Well, for me, growing up, I had a lot of adversity. I would say a lot is probably putting it small. There's someone else in my world that has had a tremendous amount of adversity, right? But it's the adversity that tends to shape us. So one of the things that I learned was going through that adversity is it's literally not about like the serious moments. It's about making them light, and so you can drink them in as much as possible. So I tend to have a lot of comedy that comes from me specifically, cracking jokes. But at the same time, it's because I'm aware of how short life can be. And I have a special heart in the world for those that are experiencing cancer and they need a cancer buddy. My uncle passed away from cancer. My sister has had cancer. She's still around, but it's been in my family, so there's always a special place when you have that experience that you go through. So it's really just acknowledging other people, because everybody's fighting their own battles. You just got to look at what is it that you can do to serve them, how can you support them, right? And it just takes a simple way of just looking at them. Just look, just see what they're going through, and just reach out.
Right. And thank you for mentioning that. And thank you for sharing that. We would consider you and call you a support buddy because of the fact that you have had cancer, in your family, your sister, your uncle, and when you have been affected by it, it's amazing how it doesn't have to be that direct person, the spouse, the parent, the child, if you will. It can be a sibling, it can be a niece, a nephew, a friend, someone that you care about that's been affected, because too many people in the world out there have thought, oh, well, it's nothing for me because this is the person that's going through it right now. However, when you have something so huge that you are dealing with, even if you're helping that person to deal with it, it's going to affect you one way or another. There's many people that it affects very differently. And if you don't have those coping skills, if you don't have your own support system, if you don't have your way of getting it out there, oftentimes it can actually play havoc with you too. And so thank you for sharing that. And it was a teaching moment, because we really do need to let people know that if they have been affected, then your support buddy, and come and see us if you want a buddy, someone to talk to. And it doesn't matter when, because many times I know that my grandfather passed of cancer when let's just say a few decades ago, wink, wink, and it took me a while to be able to talk about it and not start getting really teary really quickly. because it was still so fresh, because we don't always feel like we should be talking about it. And that goes back to stories. And that's why I really believe that, and that's why I wanted to really emphasize healing through stories with you today, because you're actually going to help me, and we're going to talk that in a few minutes here. But so you go out there and you shared this picture with me. I love it. I love it. Is that a hot air balloon in the background?
So no, one of my passions is paragliding. This was actually taken, I believe, on my birthday by my girlfriend. The picture is, I've used it as a great icon because it's just it was captured just so well. It's the only picture I have of me holding my camera, because I'm the one that's usually behind the camera, so not many pictures get taken of me. But yeah, this is a paragliding school in Santa Barbara, California. So if you ever go paragliding, it's also a great idea for a date. So I'm just saying.
Well, there you go. Wink, wink, guys. There, you've heard it. Paragliding. Yeah, I think that's on my bucket list. I know I want to. Is that similar to jumping out of a plane? Is that the same?
It's similar. The only difference is, you jump out of a plane, but with paragliding, you literally are running off of a high surface. So in this case, it'd be a hill. So you just run and run and run, and eventually the glider will take your weight, and you literally just float off the ground like a bird.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Okay. And then you're kind of like laying down in something, and then you're gliding down. And okay, I know what you're talking about. How cool is that? When did you get involved in that?
I believe that was 2013. I worked really hard just to be able to get all my gear and stuff, but the easiest comparison, or easiest talk about stories. So for those that don't have any experience with paragliders, just picture a giant like parachute above you. It's just in the shape of like a longboard. And so you run, you take off. And in Santa Barbara, it's where that location is. It's really close to the ocean. So people literally venture all the way out to the ocean, and along the ocean you have the sand, you have the beach, but there's also a cliff. So if you were to turn right and just coast along the cliffs, you're basically tooling along in a giant lazy boy chair. Just the wind is in your face. You can almost feel the breeze hitting your skin. Your hair is flowing flawlessly, as we all do. But the thing, though, is when you actually look down just off to your left, you can catch a glimpse of seals surfacing, possibly a whale surfacing. On the right, you just glance down, you have this cliffside. And if you look further down, you have couples and people just really enjoying their time together. And you get the sun just kissing your face a little bit. So it's really as close as you possibly can get to just pristine yoga, just being with yourself and being with someone else, or being with Mother Nature. So there's so much to really experience in life. It's just giving yourself the opportunity to do so.
Okay, I just figured out something. I'm glad you just told me that story, because you know what? I understand why you tell stories through video. You are an excellent storyteller in words too.
Yeah, it took a long time to practice that.
Well, you're good. You got me going. Oh my gosh. Okay. Because I'm like, okay, I'm so there. I'm there. I feel it. I'm feeling it right now. I'm in my lazy boy. I've seen it. I totally was like, okay. All right. Now I totally relaxed. Thank you for that. You actually have that. And that's part of what I'm glad that you were able to share that like you did, because that's part of your charm, Kevin, is that you have an ability to, and I've seen it firsthand, because I have some friends that have worked with you, a few of them, so that it's a good thing, because then it's not going to point out anybody in any particular situation right now, because we'll keep it confidential. However, I do know some of your clients that you've worked with, and personally, and you have an ability to calm people down, because not everybody is always ready to be filmed, are they? I mean, there's some that have no problem with it, or they might not have a problem in one area, but the whole idea of telling their story through video and having someone video their experience, whatever that may be, sometimes you have to calm them down, right?
Yeah, and you could also tell them the camera's not rolling when it actually is. So there's a little bit of a small like white lie, but the other part of it is though like there's just something about when someone is in front of a camera, the way they act or who they're being completely shifts. Like it's not who they really are. So to really calm them down and say, look, it's just ignore the camera and just talk to me. It's just a normal conversation. It really does help and benefit people. At the same time, when they're not aware the camera is around, things tend to make my job a lot easier, right? Because they're being who they normally are. They're not worried about a camera capturing moments. They're just like, okay, I'm just doing my thing. So.
And okay, so you're doing video, okay, for weddings, but you do kind of documentary type style, or what we call even in the speaking world, sparkle reels or glitter reels or what you know, some their intro reels, and you do some of those type of things too, to tell a story of someone that has a cause, someone that has a movement, someone that I know that there was one time that we were at a big event, or was supposed to be a big event, and that there was a big speaker that came in, a whole entourage, and you were the videographer capturing that whole experience. And what is it like for you to be in that kind of a situation where you're traveling as the pack? However, you're not really part of the pack. You're telling the story of the pack. And what is that like?
It makes for an interesting experience. I love getting new opportunities to experience other people's perspective, and being able to capture that. But for me, being like part of an entourage, I don't know what it is, but I get lit up by it. I get to be the person to create something with someone. It's like they have to get accustomed to being like followed around, like Gary Vee style shooting, where he has like 3-4 camera guys following him around at all times. Right. But there's just so much fun that you can have with it. Like, again, so when someone is literally like, when they have a camera on them, there's the perspective of it's a person here's the camera, and they're just, they're doing their thing. They're interacting with the camera. But some of the things that people don't realize is camera creates a lot of what we call in the, in the business world, social proof. If you were to imagine being in a restaurant and there's literally someone with a camera on them and they're walking around the restaurant, the first question that typically pops in their mind is, who is this person? Are they celebrity? Are they famous? What are they doing with the camera? Like that whole thing. So just as a fun thing and entertaining thing for me is, I think you were there as well, is we had I had my camera with me. One of my clients was with me. We were all like, the client was stood up, and I was like, just follow me. So all she did was we stood in front of me, and then I walked backwards holding the camera.
Right. I remember that. Yes.
The lens cap was on my camera lens, right? But my intention wasn't to record. It was literally to demonstrate how powerful just having a camera in a location is. And this is a bar, by the way. It was like a bar restaurant. And so one of the things that I noticed and that she noticed immediately was that it was really, really loud. As soon as the camera and we started walking with the camera, it got extremely quiet really fast. And all of a sudden you had many heads started to turn and look at what we were doing. So it creates like a celebrity status in a sense. And again, that's like part of the power of video. So, but,
right. We have Catherine Bell. We have Mikey Adam Cohen. They both have said hello to you. And yes. Well, I didn't even notice that you had the cap on, and that really is kind of funny, to be honest with you. Hi, Erin, one of our Chemo Buddy for Life ambassadors. I appreciate you being here. So it's always fun to have our buddies show up, our Chemo Buddies and our ambassadors, our volunteers. We have an amazing group of people that are a part of our organization. that is actually hilarious to me, and that comes with your that little smile of yours, that fun nature of yours, and you've got it. I know it, and you just kind of, yeah, you sit back, you and I've oftentimes wanted to sit with you, and so it's like we sit there, and some of them are doing their thing, but like I'm actually kind of observing them, because I do very, very crude and rude, very simple, videos for Facebook Lives, and some of the stuff that I do for my buddies, right? And so, of course, I want to see what you're doing, what your eye might be interested in, and such. And plus, I just love hanging with you, and so. The idea that you did it that way, I'm thinking, okay, genius, and yeah, I didn't see it, and usually I catch those things, but and I have to say, another thing that was really fun was just recently we were with a great group of people, and you were with one of your clients, and going off to the side, creating these moments of, if you will, social proof. And there was an outdoor situation where it was nice. It was a nice evening. It was warmer. There was a water feature there, and you're creating basically rock star status for this person. The way you place this person, the way you kind of worked it, because you did. That's when you became a bit of a director too, and you do that. I've noticed you sit back, and you a part of an entourage, yes, and you I'm sure are not creating much of that. Maybe you go over storyboarding beforehand, however it just happens. But then you actually took a director and a producer's role, if you will, both, in this situation. How was that for you? It looked like it was fun, and tell us a little bit about that.
It's really interesting. As we go through our own development, there's things that tend to stand out to you. One of those is being like, the thing that really stands out is when I shot the wedding, is the bride actually, I didn't know this, had a background as a model. So she was actually kind of used to, in a sense, being directed, like given specific ways of standing, posing, all that stuff. The wedding itself was just, you go here, put your hand here. It's just being able to own your own power, own what you're creating, because they have no idea, like, they have no clue on how to create a video, what it's going to look like from your perspective. So it's really up to the videographer and the photographer, whichever you choose, to actually position them to where they're going to look their best, and at the same time, the video is going to come out to be the best, right? So that's the key, and it's a lot of fun. And the more and more that I do it, the more I'm starting to get a better understanding of how films and actual movies are produced and created. It's literally just, you have a blast with tons of people. There's an intention behind it. It's really clear, right? There's going to be multiple takes, because I remember standing in front of the camera and just talking to it. I would make myself crack up on purpose, because you're just having fun. It's really light and easy. But at times there are moments where you get to be serious, because it will come through in the actual camera and the storytelling that you're working on.
And that takes us into this next area that I want to go with you, because you're going to actually help me tell a bit of a story, aren't you?
Maybe. I don't know. Listen, no, I'm just kidding. Yes, we will have.
I think you are, and because one of the things, being a part of the Next Impactor, of course, quite a few people that are involved in it.
Yes, I do.
And I have to say, being a professional, it is not hard for you, is it, for you to say, okay, now this vision, your vision is this, let's go for it, and go for the story, go for the vision. And it might be that you're even telling another story that's going to be presented in the same evening, and there's a different vision, and that's part of being a professional. And that, I would think, is probably not even a rare thing in the industry that we seem to be in, because there's a lot of speakers that need their intro reels, their intro video, and they want to. There's only a few videographers out there that truly understand what it is that is needed, and you're one of them. So how do you feel about that, taking on assignments where you're telling a story through the eyes of the person that you're working with, and it might even be a story that is going to be in at a same event as another story that you've told? How do you feel about, being in that kind of a situation?
Really, there's one thing that always stands out, and I use it as a gauge. Is if I'm not nervous, then that's a problem, right? Because for those that are actually nervous, they actually care. They really care about delivering on their promise, on their word, right, to their client. So that's the first thing. At the same time, making sure that the client, we have expectations that are set beforehand, so that there's no overreach. It's basically the deliver what was promised and then some. So people really need to have people on their team to also help make a difference. So I get to be the one to capture their genius, someone once said recently.
And that's so true, and it is very true, and I appreciate that about you, and I appreciate the fact that you are so generous in your spirit, because I've heard you talk about your parents, because they live in the Phoenix area. Is that correct? You were visiting them when we were there in Phoenix together, and yet you live in the Las Vegas area. Yet you travel as much as I do, it seems. Out of that car of yours, and I notice when you talk about certain things, people that matter to you, you really care about the individuals that are in your life, don't you?
Very much so. One of the things that I know that is almost to a fault is I'm extremely loyal. So if someone comes into my world and they've added some sort of value, I'm always looking to see how can I provide value back to them. It's the reciprocity bias. But yeah, it's really those that really take the opportunity, one, to get to know me, and two, they are able to kind of support me in a sense, or whatever it looks like. I'm extremely grateful. I'm so happy that I have certain people in my world that are they're generous, and they're several steps ahead of me. It gives me an opportunity to really stretch and grow, not to where they're going to be, right? Because they have their own vision. Being able to walk or be alongside them and be able to share in that, whatever that looks like. So one of the areas that I'm really focused on is having someone in my world that not only makes a difference in their world and what they're really passionate and committed to, right? But at the same time, I'm able to kind of support them in one way, shape, or form. At the same time, they're kind of supporting me in a sense where it's some of the greatest teamwork without any sort of expectation. It's more of just we're serving each other at the same time. We're supporting each other. We're pushing each other, stretching and growing together, so that we can actually build a empire together. So.
And I'm glad that you shared that, because that's the way I see you with the people that you work with too. Is that's what makes you, I believe, such an amazing spirit and person that is out there telling a story. Because to come from a place of authenticity, a place of caring, a place where it matters, where you're willing to support people that support you, people that integrity is a huge word in your world. Your word is your bond. Those type of things That comes out in storytelling. That comes out, even if you don't mean to be telling your story, it's still going to come out through the eyes of the person that's editing. And in fact, you're standing right now because you edit a lot. And we were talking about that. And, that sitting and editing and spending that time to tell that story, to cut the film at a certain place, to then be able to know that it's flowing and it's taking that person that's watching, they're having an experience with that moment through the film, through the video that you created, and you're helping them to journey through that message. And when you are coming from a place like you do, that's why I'm like, yeah, I have to have a story that tells something. And it's important to me to have someone that has a storytelling soul, that is not going to be coming from a place of, okay, I'm just going to, if you will, wham it together, because it's another deal, and then I'm on to the next deal, and it's not that you're not a business person. You're a business person, definitely a business person. However, you're a caring person. And as I've watched you, even in some of the fun moments, okay, yeah, how about this? And then now, how about that? And as you've put together a moment in time that I can't wait to see what it translated like into video, because that in itself is what, if you're going to spend the moments and, if you will, the investment to tell a story, you want a story that's going to represent what it is that you want held for a legacy. And these are really, in many ways, legacy pieces that you work on, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you can really consider just looking at weddings as a whole, just so imagine you have obviously a boyfriend, girlfriend, turned fiance into husband and wife, right? They have no memory, well, they have memories as boyfriend and girlfriend guaranteed, but as an actual family, the first memory is typically going to be the wedding, right? So that's something that's going to be cherished for many decades to come, right? And this is the same thing I learned from a mentor of mine that's a professional photographer. Her main niche was weddings a long time ago, and it's one of the things she hammered home is it's the first memory ever that someone in a family will ever have, right? Because that's before any children show up. That is really just between the husband, the love of their life, and the wife, the love of their life, right? So it's just the legacy part. It's just having that mindset of just do the best that you can, and it'll produce the best results stepping into that.
So you are you taking any more clients on from like the business world, the speaking world, the entrepreneurial world, or are you just completely transferring and shifting into weddings now?
So right now my focus is it's a transitional period. So I'm serving the clients that I have. I have a client we'll be going to once I'm done shooting with him in Portland. We're going to be reevaluating and potentially going to Thailand at the end of the year. So aside from that, like that's a big long travel day.
Right. Yeah.
I'm really looking at kind of reflecting. What have I accomplished thus far? Where do I want to go? And I have mentors that I've reached out to. We're going to be really looking at several different things. But for me, weddings right now are just something that I'm really excited about. I'm still going to be serving, speaking clients. Sizzle reels are very simple, right? But the reason I like weddings more is because you can literally set up your schedule to where it's every single weekend. You can have up to two probably weddings every weekend. It leaves the week to really spend time with those you truly love and care about. So it's just more positioning for me. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm still open to working with clients to the end of the year, taking on new clients. But a lot of my video skills are going to be transferring towards weddings. It's probably going to be 70% weddings, and then the other 30% is going to be other stuff. And it's really just, and that's what it is right now. It's going to be really honed in and fine-tuned by a few other people that I'm going to be reaching out to or that I am in conversations with already. So This is what we call the evolution of your passion and what you really love. So, and someone once told me to focus on your skill set, build that up as best as you possibly can, and when you get to that point where you've put enough money away, right, you can actually focus on your passion project. What's that one project that would make a tremendous difference in not just your life, where you would do it regardless? It's your way of serving the world on a bigger level. But it's also making a big impact, and it can't be done just all by yourself. You need a team. So that's really where I'm at. I'm just looking at certain elements and fine-tuning everything so I can focus on those things.
You know, it says exactly what it is that who you are right there. The fact that you're looking at a business that will serve you and serve your needs, or serve your financial responsibilities in life. We all have them, and that you can fulfill what it is that you like to do now creatively with telling stories. You like the idea of telling these stories of how, you know, those that are getting married, how they came together, then their special day, and then being able to have something that they're going to be able to have and look back on for the rest of their life. That is truly a legacy piece. That is something that there's no do-over on that unless they're doing over the whole wedding vow day, you know, especially that rock thing. That would be kind of an interesting do-over. So you got to get it right. You got to put together something that you feel confident with. And I know that there's a lot of people that they look at the wedding area as a possible area to work in and focus on. And then they go there and they're like, I don't know that I want that responsibility anymore, because it is quite a responsibility to get it right. And that says something about you too, in your character. And that's one of the things that I truly love. We have Erin, one of our ambassadors, that's she's talking about her daughter is getting married in September. So excited for her and the beginning of their family. Congratulations, Erin. That's exciting. And yes, legacy. So true. We've got a lot of other things that have been said as we've been talking and visiting. Carol shared, one of our other Chemo Buddy for Life ambassadors. Thank you guys for showing up today. And it's exciting because, you know, we're in the fact that we've got Kevin that is going to help to kind of share our story and how we're getting there and going where we're going with Chemo Buddies for Life. And so great information she's sharing. She's someone that is a Landmark graduate also. I believe you know that. We've got Catherine Bell that spoke in about your genius, and that you are a genius, and therefore, you know, it's that you are able to can capture other people's genius. Your genius is capturing other genius. And that, I think, is, I mean, those are words to write down and put in a meme right there. You know, Catherine, I love it. And clear intentions is key, is what Erin shared. And we have Timothy Johnson that has shown up. You know, I just absolutely adore Timothy Johnson. He's a great job, brother. That sounds like him.
Tim has one of the biggest hearts that I know. So if you even get the privilege to speak with him, it's really, don't take that for granted.
Oh, I agree. I actually got to meet him early on in my journey in this world of going out there, because, you know, I kind of backdoored this whole thing in, and you know my story well enough to get it. But those that don't know it, and please, when you're here, #live or #replay. Thank you. But the fact is I knew I had a movement. I'm starting a nonprofit that's going to change the world. But how do you find the people that you're going to serve? You got to get out there and share your message. So early on, that's how I kind of started into the whole speaking world, because I'm thinking, okay, I need to fast track this, because we need people to know that we're here for them as soon as possible. And I met Timothy kind of early on, and he spent some time. He's so fun and kind of,
Yeah.
he's him. He's so real, and I love that about him. And sat there with me and kind of talked to me about, okay, so what is it you're doing? What are you really doing? And and let's look at this. And gave me some insight into some ideas, and generous, just so much generosity and kindness in an interesting, fun package. It's like, okay, sometimes don't judge the book by its cover. That's the bottom line in that one, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of another quote or something, but the most powerful people have some of the biggest challenges and adversity in their life. Those are the people that they go through so much and they're not sure they can even get out of their own way, right? But when they do, if they can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel, actually take on their own power, because that's what a lot of us are. We're so terrified of actually being our own powerful person, right? Because of all the judgments and things that tend to show up, right? But when they can actually see it, when they can actually own it, man, do they change the world. Oh my goodness, do they change the world. So
exactly. Now you see why I wanted to highlight him, guys. He's just, this is what you see is what you get, and he is the real deal. You are the real deal, and I so appreciate you, and I know that we're kind of coming down to the wire here, and I want to share some pictures because we had some fun times. We were sharing Pauline's book, and because I owed her some pictures, and so you were kind enough to say, okay, yeah, let's do some pictures. And so we had some fun with her book, and then we got together with some of our friends there at just kind of like a fun little healthy restaurant in Phoenix. Because it's funny how this all works too, because you have people, if you look at that group, you have people that are from all over the United States, from the East, from Texas, from California, from Vegas, and we're all meeting in Phoenix, and some locals. And because of the way that you get to know each other, you want to spend time with these individuals, and they're people that have stories, have unique situations going on, and they are out there, like you said, dedicated to change the world. And that was fun. That was a lot of fun. And look at that face of yours.
yeah, at the time I was literally a day away from a haircut, so I'm like, see, that's a lot shorter than it is in that picture.
You're so funny. Well, let's just show your pitch. I love this picture. That's a great picture. Is that your hair long or short or kind of in between? It's kind of like you have some up here, but
it was, I forget the name of the style of cut, but it's mainly, it's probably at the time it was the longest my hair had ever been for many, many, many years. So, but yeah, it's right in between.
And did you have this picture taken when you were doing your whole men's image thing?
So funny thing is, I'm starting to notice I'm surrounded by several artistes. They have their own way of things. So that picture was taken by my hairstylist literally right after she had finished cutting my hair. She pulled out her camera and shot it. So
I love it. I love it. It's a great picture, and that smile, you got like $1 million smile, and it just like shows up.
Yeah,
and
thank the parents for that one. Braces do work.
Yeah, that's true. I do too. I had to concur on that one. I had years of braces, and then I go and break my 2 front teeth. That's why I had to have, we all have our stories in regards to that stuff. So, and I just want to capture this because I saw this whole thing happening. You were in San Diego, and some of the people were like, we need this really cool picture that it's in the middle, almost feeling like you're in the middle of nowhere, you're downtown. And did you get convinced to do that, or was it like, okay, yeah, I'll do it? Or how did that one take place?
So the story of this one is we were all at an event. I think it was a long time ago, but it's for videographers and photographers. It's the risk of getting the shot, right? So it's if you don't take risks in life, I'm sorry, you will not potentially get a result that you want. You don't know unless you try, right?
Mhm.
So the thing that I wanted to do was I just saw an opportunity. This is literally on top of a roof, so you literally had to walk out of the building. There's a
Oh,
little
sorry to step
balcony.
on your words. This is
Yeah,
not the one I'm thinking it is. You did something else similar. So keep going. So sorry to step on your words. Okay.
no, you're fine.
Okay, so keep going. So
Yeah. So you
you're
literally
on the roof.
it was me and I think it was my girlfriend at the time, or my girlfriend anyway. Is that we walked out on the balcony. I was like, hey, let's grab a chair from inside so we can step on top of this roof. So we literally started that, and then it wasn't long until several other people. I think the guy who's just about to kneel down, he's the main photographer, saw us doing this, and so he came out and joined the party. So we literally just had a whole crew of people on top of a roof randomly taking shots. So it was that's the part of just taking a risk, and that's probably me stepping into my director role of let's do this. So
Okay, so you do have the director role. Okay, all right. Sorry to step on your words. That was so rude.
you're
And
fine.
because I remember being at one event, and all of a sudden there's this huge amount of commotion, and it must have been after you had already done this one, because you guys were out there on the side. And it was in San Diego, and there you are, and you guys are all doing this amount of stuff, and everybody's like looking and thinking, okay, will I do this, will I not? I was so game, but I couldn't, because I was tethered to my video live feed that I was doing, but I was like, oh, that looks like fun. And so you probably do get a little of both kind of personalities, don't you? Like, oh yeah, let's do this. And then there's probably the other ones that are hesitant because they're afraid to go out and be, go into something new. And those type of experiences captured on video, that can be a life-changing witness, right? When you can capture something like that. Let's say someone's overcome a fear, and then we'll wrap it up. But I'm thinking here, you overcome a fear, you've got the video rolling, you catch it, then they turn around and there's that face like, I did it.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
For me, it's great because it's a win-win. Because in that particular picture, it was the first time I actually pushed a little bit for people to kind of jump on the roof. It's the first time I'd ever been on that roof. So one, I'm just waiting for the police to show up. All these like little stories that pop in our head, or a security guard or something. No one showed up, but literally I got to have my own experience at the same time I got to capture their experience. So it was definitely a win-win.
Right. So Aaron's saying human beings are the only species willing to limit themselves, or ourselves. Be willing to take risks. Thank you for sharing that, Aaron. So as we start to wrap this up, if people want to work with you, if people want to find out more about you, how do they go about that?
Typically, it's going to be via email. I'm heavily on word of mouth right now, so and you don't need necessarily a website, but I do. I'm in the process of restructuring a lot of my stuff, so it's in the process of being built, just not there yet. So typically, it's just going to be either email or a phone call or a text message. Those are typically the direct forms to reach me. So.
Okay. Do you mind, after we're done, putting that information in the comment area so that if someone does want to reach out to you and find out more about how they may be able to work with you, and see if you're free and how to go about it? You travel anywhere in the United States? Have you ever traveled outside of, well, you just mentioned you're going to be traveling outside of the United States with one of your clients at the end of the year. Is that something you do a lot, or do you pretty much stay in the United States?
So 90% of my work is inside the U.S. There are times where 10% is going to be outside. I went to Colombia for my mentors or one of my mentors just to create a video. There's over 1,000 people in attendance for that event. So that's probably the other part of why I'm so calm, is because I've been in large situations. So the little stuff is just really simple. But yeah, it's just, I want to see more of the world. So obviously 90% of it being here in the US is going to shift to a lot more in different countries. But for right now, we're just keeping it simple. So.
Okay. All right. Well, as we end, do you have any words of wisdom that you would like to impart before we close?
Yeah, there's a few things. First thing, well, she'll give you 4 things. So the first thing, vulnerability is disarming. Whenever you get a chance, regardless of if you think it'll make a difference or not, or you're in your own story about something, share what you're really experiencing with others, because it could make a profound difference for someone else. So if you're experiencing a challenge within, one, just being a chemo buddy, there's a lot that comes with that. So sharing what you're actually experiencing. If you're in a relationship, sharing with that other person, okay, here's where I'm at, here's where I'd love to where we can come together and make a difference, right? So just vulnerability anywhere is disarming, because it allows someone else to step into, sharing what they wanted to share as well. Second thing is, when it comes to camera work, for those of you doing Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives, do this. Look into the pinhole lens like me. Right? Right? It's great. You look great on camera. Oh, look at that beautiful face. It's so wonderful, right? But to your viewers, it does make a difference to look directly into that pinhole camera, because you can literally stare into somebody's soul.
Right.
And then third thing is, before you do any video, just do something that will impact your energy levels. So whether that's jumping jacks, push-ups, something, it doesn't have to be like a whole workout. It's literally just 10 seconds, or whether it's jumping up and down or something, and then you turn on the camera. That whole energy level will be translated into the actual video itself. So, and fourth thing is, if there's anything that I can really push, is to take a risk. You never know what could actually happen by sharing what you're working through or what you're going through. And you'll probably like this simple story, Tamara, is that there's a good friend of mine. He was, his father is a huge doctor. He's been a doctor for many, many years, and he was a huge fan of the Boston Red Sox, and they supported an organization. I believe it wasn't for leukemia, but it was for a specific disease. And he's a Landmark graduate at the time. All he did was, people would ask him, how did you actually connect with the Reds or the Boston Red Sox and the other organization? He goes, it's simple. I literally just pulled up on Google, typed in who's the person responsible for donations and stuff and nonprofit work, called them, and I got a meeting. Right? It's the being unreasonable that will get you a result. If they don't answer, then that's the only risk, right? What's the worst that could happen by just picking up the phone and calling someone? You may get their voicemail, but it's all about the follow-up. So take a risk. It will lead you down a path you may not really expect. So I didn't know I was going to be, several years ago, going to be doing an amazing little message with Tamara. Didn't know that.
No, you didn't know that. Well,
yes.
And you know what? Let me just share this real quick, because you are being asked to chat to see if possibly you might be able to be in Utah in September on the 7th. And so, and thank you for sharing is what I'm hearing, and thank you for your genius tips. And so you just never know. So true. So yes.
I just want to share one more thing, right? And this goes for chemo buddies and everything else, is you are only, so being that we all walk around with these things called cell phones and cameras, right? You can literally create anything, right? But you are only one video away from changing someone's life, whether they're going through a hard time, a difficult time, or it's literally simply a message that you randomly feel like, I'm just going to create this video and send this off to a friend to say how awesome they are. It will literally be so powerful. It will make their day, and watch, you can start a trend. You just never know. You're only one video away from making a difference in someone's life.
You know what? It's so true. Can you guys see why it is that I am so thrilled to introduce Kevin Beverly to you all? He's pretty spectacular. Absolutely. And I mean, I got so many remarks coming in. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. I didn't look. Thank you very much, Aaron. I appreciate you very much. We have such an amazing team at Chemo Buddies for Life, and supporting our buddies and our buddies when they come live. And I always appreciate their bravery, because many of them, they are, and they're with their smiles. And yes, I went around in my bald head too, and so I love our bald heads when we have them to share. So as we close, words of wisdom and words of love and words of true guidance. Kevin, you are a remarkable man. You are young in chronological age, and yet I feel as though you truly are a wise and beautiful soul, that you are here as a gift to us all. And as we close day number 279 of 365 days of awesome, celebrate success through service, I want to recognize this. I want to recognize you. I want to let people know that it's not by accident that I have you here today, and we are featuring you as a service hero, and for your unique style and way that you look at life, your fun, your sense of humor and smile. Yes, and we were dancing, getting that energy going before we went live, and now I even get it that much more. It's like, okay, yes, pump it up, get it going, before you go on. And you don't just say it, you do it, you live it. You are out there being generous with your attitude and with your talents, and you've shared that today with all of us. So I just want to say, I really want to ask you guys, I'm sure you will, if there's anything that Kevin ever needs, let's be there for him, because I see him there for so many. And I'll even raise my hand, yeah, he's there for so many, and let's be there for him. Let's help him to really find those weddings, to tell the stories. Let's help him to get out there and share the stories that he is looking to tell, and so that it's a wonderful circle of love and light and energy and legacy, and it all keeps going round and around and around with amazing, wonderful people. So thank you so very much for your time today, Kevin. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Tamara. I really enjoyed this, and I'd love to ask, and whether this works or not, is for those that are watching or listening, is just keep in mind, what are 3 things that you're taking away for yourself that you can actually implement for your own business and for your own life? So it's not just left as an empty, like, oh, this was a great experience. There's actually something you're getting and taking away from it. So
I love it. I love it. In fact, please share with us. I love that. I love that. Another thing I need to say, because I haven't implemented it quite yet, and I should have, but you were the one that came up, and here at the very end, I'm remembering it. You're the one that came up with the weakness becomes our strength within being a service hero, that our weaknesses are truly our strengths. And that's something that you are a wise soul beyond belief, and we'll use that this here soon together. We're together. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, thank you so very much for your time. We'll talk again. We've got more people coming, and everybody, please watch this over and share it out. Put #live, #replay. This one's a good one. And then put your 3 comments in. You've been challenged. Let's do it. I will. All right. Thank you, Kevin. Bye. See you later, guys.